Hey, Facebook. I hope y'all are doing well. It's your girl, Nat Bullen, and I have been waiting to do this live for a minute. So I am really excited that it's finally come to pass. I have done the math, tallied it all up, and I have officially invested, actually, as of a couple months ago, $100,000 on coaching. Now, I'm going to give a quick parameter in terms of what I consider coaching. And then I'll talk to you about what I've learned. You might be wondering, would I do it again? Did I feel like it was a good investment? So I'm going to cover all of that too. All right. First things first, here's what I call coaching. So to me, when you hire a coach, you need to be clear on what modality they use. Coaching is different than consulting, which is different than mentorship, which is different than advisory. I think a good coach uses the appropriate mechanism and methodology and modality for what you need in that moment. So, all of these people did not call themselves coaches, okay? However, they coached me, so I'm going to count it as coaching, all right? Somebody that I brought in on like a fractional basis, like Fiona Wynn, my CFO, would not count as coaching, right? So, this does not include done for you service providers. So, what did I learn? Okay. I'll give you a brief history because you might be seeing this number like, Natalie, what the hell? But it was over, I don't know, 3.5 years. I've been in business a little while now. The very first investment that I ever made into coaching was $10,000. The very first purchase ever. So I was crazy out the gate, but I was all in. I wanted to quit my job, and I felt like this particular program could help me. This particular program I vetted deeply. The coach is famous, and I don't trust famous people. It's part of why I don't want to be famous. So I said to myself, let me watch a lot. So I watched this person. They had a group that was very robust. They had a few lunch and learns where you could ask questions. Speaking of which, if you have questions about Birthright, if you're on the fence about joining and you want me to do a lunch and learn where we can ask me some questions tomorrow, just let me know. Just drop lunch and learn in the comment. All right. Anyway, so went to her little lunch and learn, asked questions, really specific questions. Is there any one-on-one support? Who is the coach gonna be? What exactly is being covered? They sold me into this program, and in like January, it didn't start until June, and it was Basuda. It was a horrible coaching program. I met a lot of friends in there. Oh, can you not hear me? Hmm. Now you got me wondering. Hold on. I'm like, can you hear me? There's 15 people watching this, so I need somebody to tell me if they can hear me or not. Because now that I've got a comment, okay, I'm freaked out. I'm like, what? Is there no sound? All right, let me know if it goes back out again. What was I saying? Oh, so I got into this coaching program in January, and we didn't start until June. It was trash. People joke that they still have trauma from this program. I'm not gonna name this program, but y'all know what it is. And a lot of folks were like, "Weren't you upset?" And I was like, "No, because I got my money back." So I let them know, "Hey, you all breached the terms of this contract. There was no one-on-one support. It wasn't what you said." I ended up moving into her community instead of her coaching. But even if I had been out that 10K, it would have been worth it from the connection. So, lesson number one is sometimes the benefit of the program is not the benefit that was advertised. Let me try that again. Sometimes your ROI is not the ROI that they promised you in the program. That does not mean that it's right. I'm saying whenever people ask, did you get an ROI on a program? You got to ask yourself, what kind of ROI did I expect? And did I get any value from it? If you got no value at all from a program, that's different. Expose those people. But this particular program actually taught me a lot. It taught me how not to treat people. It taught me how not to treat my employees. It taught me not to deviate too far from the premise of the program. Burberry is struggling right now because they have not been doing their iconic plaid trench coats. They changed their logo to a bright blue. And they've been selling purses, and don't nobody want no expensive Burberry purse. Don't nobody want to spend what they was gonna spend on a Louis Vuitton purse on no Burberry purse. Burberry isn't known for purses, so you have to be careful with moving too far away. This group started off as a group for Black women making six figures, and over time the group started letting in white people and men and folks who didn't even have businesses. You stray too far from the original premise of the program. So I still made an ROI. Actually, I made over $200,000 from that community because Natalie know how to work a room, even as an introvert, even in a virtual room. Amen. But ask yourself, did you get that? So lesson one, the ROI might not have been what was on the sales page. Okay. So I realized my mistake that I still needed a coach. And so I got in another program. This program was $10,000 if you pay in full, or $11,500 if you did the payment plan. I was still paying on the first $10,000 because I hadn't got my refund yet. So I said, I still need a coach. And so I invested. This brings me to lesson number 2. Just because you had a bad experience don't mean that your problem got solved. I meet people all the time who say, I'm not going to hire another coach because my last experience was bad. I'm not going to hire another coach because I'm still paying off the last coach. And I get that. And if financially that's where you are, I'm not shaming you. But you do have to realize your problem is still unsolved. So how long are you going to let that last bad coach leave you in a situation where you still need help? For me, that process is very short. As soon as I made enough money, I made one sale and I got in that woman's program. It was a $1,500 deposit and then $2,500 a month for 4 months. So I just stepped out on faith. Now, I was still working a job, and a lot of y'all quit y'all jobs too soon. So if your business don't make any money, you have nothing to invest with. But Natalie was still working her job. So I invested in that program. It was supposed to be 12 weeks, but graciously, the coach extended it to a year to give us more time to launch. And I think I had to pay like $6,000 extra for the extension from 12 weeks to a year, right? So what are we at? $27,500? So it's $27,500 worth of coaching so far. All right. So I got some traction in that program. This brings me to lesson 3. I was the wrong fit for that program at the time because I had never launched anything. I did not have a signature offer. And so while I learned a lot in terms of my money mindset and my confidence, like the coach was incredible, her co-coach was incredible, I have nothing but good things to say about this person. I didn't get the premise of the program, which was a solidified $10,000 offer and a successful launch event. I did launch a lesser program called the Bold Academy. It was like a 6-week incubator. I think I charged $1,500 for it. Because at the time I was afraid to charge $10,000 because her program was $10,000 and her program was flawless. So I'm like, well, damn, if this is what people paying $10,000 for, ain't no point of me trying to sell nothing. Like her stuff is legit. Like the emails, the funnels, like she never makes a mistake. So like the bar was just so high. It was a lot. All right, fast forward. So I hired some smaller coaching programs for different reasons. I worked with Caroline Onyendema on my messaging. I can't remember what I paid. I feel like it was around $5,000. It was worth 2 or 3 times that. Listen, Caroline really knows her stuff. So that was a good experience. I had some marketing people that I met with who wasn't crazy about. And this leads me to lesson number 4. Sometimes you are buying coaching for the wrong reason. Let me read this little snippet. I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to write all of my posts in a Google Doc and then put them on Facebook. Because believe it or not, I post directly to Facebook and then people have to go trying to hunt for my stuff, which is not great. So I used to be a big spender. So if you've been on the Birthright sales page, and if you haven't, why not? Go do that now. But if you've been on the Birthright sales page, you know I've got 6 personas of the way that people deal with money, right? And one of them is the big spender. And I am guilty of being a big spender, okay? And I'll tell y'all how that has bit me in the butt and how I've done a lot of mindset work around it, which is why I'm so excited to bring you all this program. But a lot of times we're not actually buying a coaching program. People are trying to buy confidence. And that's what I used to try to buy. which was buying offers that I could have been leading or teaching myself under the guise of learning more. Now, sales, I think you should always invest in sales. I will buy any sales training, period, that will teach me something new because iron sharpens iron. But a lot of these little smaller programs I was in, to be dead serious, I could have sold a program. Like, I learned nothing at all. It just confirmed what I already knew. I probably paid $20,000 confirming stuff I already knew. So you got to be careful and ask yourself when you reflect, when you make an investment, what exactly were you trying to buy? Were you trying to buy confidence, like I mentioned earlier? Are you trying to buy status by hiring the most expensive coach you can find, even if you didn't vet them? Are you trying to buy safety by giving your money away to people that you think handle money better than you do? Are you trying to buy love and adoration by getting in a community of peers, even if the coach ain't about nothing? You just want to be around people, you lonely? What are you trying to buy? Are you buying camaraderie? I know so many people in masterminds with no value who are literally just stay in them because there's community. That's it. The coach, the facilitator is not great. The program is not great. The price is exorbitant. But because they made some friends in there, they don't want to lose face and leave. What are you actually buying? What lesson are we on? 4 or 5? Then we're on 5. Assess what you're actually purchasing. $100,000 in, I can tell you, a lot of times we are buying for the wrong reason. So the reason we're not happy with what we purchased is because we didn't purchase what we think that we purchased. You think you purchased a car. No. You purchased a status symbol. Because your car communicates to the world how much money people think you have. Yes, some people bought pure transportation. My husband drives a Kia Rio. I would call that pure transportation. He damn sure ain't buy that to impress anybody. But most people have some ego involved in their purchases. So you really got to assess to yourself how much of this purchase was ego and how much of this purchase was something I needed. All right. So let's talk about one of my best coaching experiences. It was with Donna St. Louis. Donna's amazing. The only reason I'm not working with Donna right now is because she doesn't do one-on-one coaching really anymore. She's focused on her amazing, wonderful, flourishing retreat business with Chanel Evans, which is amazing. But at the time that I hired Donna, I was struggling. I had been doing one-on-one coaching for a while. I had 13 private clients, and I met with my clients every week back then. So every week I had 60 minutes of calls times 13 people, plus the prep for the calls. If anybody needs to reschedule, it was a nightmare. That was on top of running a group coaching program. That was on top of trying to be a newlywed. It was a nightmare. It was really bad. And my one-on-one coaching, I needed to slow down, but I couldn't slow down my money. So when I hired Donna, I really didn't have it like that. Like, I really didn't have a lot of money, not excess, you know what I'm saying? But when I had met her at a retreat, and I thought to myself, this is it. I need to invest. So I messaged her and was like, hey, I think I need to be your client. And she was like, I think so too. So we got on a call, and I asked her what it cost, and she told me it was going to be $20,000 because I already knew how to sell. And I'm like, damn, how much would it have been if I didn't know how to sell? And she was like, $30K. And I was like, okay, I saved myself $10K because I already know how to sell. That's cool. That's cool. I was like, can I give you 10 now and 10 in 30 days? And she said, yeah. So I put it on a personal credit card because I didn't even have a business Amex back then. And when was this? October of 2022. So 2 years ago. Man, Donna made me my money back so fast. Donna restored my faith in coaching because very few people do one-on-one. Everybody moves to group for scale. And I don't know about y'all, I get lost in big group coaching programs. That's why my group programs are small. Birthright is not a mega program. I don't ever expect it to be hundreds and hundreds of people or even dozens and dozens of people. Like, I don't want 50, 75 people showing up to every call. If we grow it that big, then we'll have pods. Like, you'll never be on a call with 75 other people because you get lost in the shuffle. I get lost in big group coaching programs, and I either talk too much and take up too much space, or I get social overwhelmed from how many voices and people there are. I'm in this program now called Trauma of Money. I'm getting a certification in it so that I can understand more deeply epigenetics and ancestral trauma that comes around money so I can be well versed. The number of people in that program gives me pause. Like, I'm working through it, but I get social anxiety on the Zoom call because there's so many people in there and there's so many voices in there. So I don't want to create a space like that for people. So working with Donna was great. She has an open calendar. So if you need to book, you book in. At the end of every call, she asks, when do you want to meet again? I was in the middle of a launch. We met like 3 times a week for that first like month. She helped me build out the Sales Siren Academy. We had a 6-figure launch. I made all my money back. I paid the credit card off. She was always respectful to me, always kind, answered my text messages. She actually came to my conversion event. This is a bone, and I'm just going to pick it. If your coach didn't come to your conversion event, your coach don't like you that much. Like when my clients have workshops and master classes, unless I got something serious going on, I'm gonna be there. Like, give me the date, send me the invite, put it on the calendar, because I want to support you. I've got a client that's having a masterclass on the 27th. I don't even work on Sundays. I'm going to be there, because how can I critique how your sales pitch went if I didn't see the pitch? I had a homegirl who hired a coach and paid this coach 5 figures, and the coach didn't show up to her conversion event. I did. And I had to give her critique on her conversion event because her coaches wasn't there. And all I could think to myself was, why are you paying these people? Like, I mean, I get they could watch the replay, but like, did they? I'm sorry. I just care so deeply about my folks. If you pay me $99, I love and respect you. So when you pay me $20,000, $30,000, baby, I'm on you like white on rice. I'm on you. You gonna get sick of me before I get sick of you. And any private client of mine will tell you, Nelly ain't one of them people you got to chase. You're not going to sit in my DMs for a week waiting on a response. I email back the same day. I DM back the same day. I Slack back the same day. 95% of the time. So like, why y'all got clients if y'all too busy to serve them? Like, that's not a flex. That takes me to lesson number 6. Stop buying coaching from people who don't like coaching. When you see people post about how they barely work and how they work 10 hours a week, and that includes active client time, like when they're telling you in their marketing that they barely ever work, that's a red flag if you are expecting personalized attention. I meet people all the time who tell me they are in these $30,000 programs where they are basically just cattle being corralled into this funnel. And once you pay, you get nothing. People tell me, oh, I was supposed to get a hot seat, never got a hot seat. I was supposed to get a one-on-one call, I never got the call. I can't tell you how many people are in my DMs who've paid a coach trying to get free advice from me because they can't get advice from the person they paid. Like, I think the coaches are shitty who do this stuff, but like, we got to do better as people vetting and watching folks. And I have been guilty. Because I'm very naive, and I think that since I'm honest, that other people are honest. And since I give a damn about my clients, that other people give a damn about their clients. No. N-O. These people do not give a damn about you if they showcase that they don't give a damn about you. When people show you, and they show you through their marketing. A lot of these people market to a very, I'm not around, I don't like people. When folks say they don't like people, why are you a coach if you don't like people? Who do you coach? Dogs? Cats? I know they was eating the dogs and eating the cats in Springfield, apparently. Trump think that. We coaching the cats? We coaching the dogs? If you don't like people, why are you a coach, a consultant, an advisor? Why do you have one-on-one services? Why? Cash grab. Soon as you see folks, I'm an introvert, but that don't mean I don't like people. That just means that being around people discharges my social battery, and that I need to retreat to myself to recharge. I do that outside of business hours. I don't recharge during business hours. During business hours, I'm doing this: marketing, selling, interacting with my clients. I'm gonna check in with my clients. I'm gonna go run a quick errand. I'm gonna cook dinner for my husband, and then I'm gonna keep working, because that's what you do when people pay you a whole bunch of money. Like, stop acting like the wrong $5,000 investment has put some people out of business. We cannot assume that because $5,000 don't hurt us, that $5,000 don't hurt anybody. You don't know what people moved around to be able to give you $5,000 or even $500. All right. I got worked up. All right. So, as you can see, I've had lots of coaching experiences. I tend to do better one-on-one than groups, so I will pay more for that. I paid for a VIP day that was very challenging. I won't air out all the details because I try to keep some of this stuff anonymous, but let me just say this. Have your processes together before people buy something. That whole like sell it then create it stuff, maybe that works for pure coaching, because pure coaching, the person shows up, you ask them targeted questions and they have breakthroughs and you support the breakthrough and you all set a goal and you work towards the goal. So pure coaching doesn't need a lot of processes. I could if somebody met me on Zoom right now, I could coach them with no preparation. That's not hard for me. But if you sell anything that has a consulting element, meaning your hands are on the keyboard typing, if you give a prospectus or a document or a deliverable of any kind, if you do advisory services, or if the word strategy is on your website, that's not pure coaching. And you need to have your systems lined up, and so people have a good expectation. Imagine buying a VIP day thinking you're going to sit down in one meeting and it turning into 5 or 6 meetings. Imagine getting in a program that you think is 3 months, but then it's 6 months or 9 months or 12 months because they couldn't get done in 3 months what they said they could get done in 3 months. And so be careful about creating these new programs that you've never delivered because your coach told you to make them, and then not thinking through what does the delivery look like. The first round of my mini mind was rough because I came in with assumptions that people were strong writers but just didn't know what to post on Facebook. No, I've learned that most people are not what the world would consider a strong writer. So then you got to get back to the basics of English diction and grammar. Like, everybody's first language isn't even English. Most people struggle with homophones bad. There, and there be eating people up. So like, I realized I'm starting these people. It's a 4-week program. I'm thinking it's week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nah, it's week 5, 6, 7, and 8. I thought they already had 1 through 4. And so I try to give people grace when they sell me into programs that you absolutely cannot do in the time period allocated. But I've bought a couple VIP days that turned into really laborious systems, which brings me to lesson number 6, 7. Somebody keeping track of the lessons, child. It ain't ever gonna take the amount of time that you think it's gonna take. Whatever you bought is not going. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a book coach, a writing coach, a singing coach, a speaking coach, a confidence coach, a money coach, a wealth coach, a operations coach, tech coach, an Airtable coach, a interior decorating coach. A makeup coach. Whatever you bought, it's not going to take the amount of time that your brain is telling you it's going to take. I don't care if it's an 8-week program. Maybe you're going to be on for 8 weeks. But those 8 weeks aren't your full transformation. It's going to take time to synthesize what you learn. My biggest mistake with buying coaching is thinking, or coaching programs, is that this is a 12-week program, so in 12 weeks I'll be done. I can check this box and move on to my next thing. It don't work like that. A lot of this stuff is deep layers you got to unpeel. Sometimes it takes me 6 weeks just to get my bearings and be like, damn, I am in that program. Like, you're not always going to be able to click your brain on and immediately charge your head. This has helped me in my programs as well. My VIP day is basically a 30-day sprint now, because I'm learning that very few people can get good benefit from sitting there listening to me talk for 5 hours and then go off and implement it with no support. Even giving people 14 days of support, they weren't using it. And when I would ask why they weren't using it, they'd be like, girl, I'm so busy trying to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That leads me to lesson 8. Stop stretching yourself so thin and getting in so many conflicting coaching programs. I got on a sales call with a young woman once who was in 5 coaching programs. 5 coaching programs. Trying to join mine. Negative. Negative. Baby, I turned her down. I was like, you're not going to have time for anything I'm talking about. So we really ought to just let this go, ma'am. Because this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. Like what? But here's the thing. She would have joined my program if I had let her. But the likelihood of her getting any kind of result was zero. Because she was already in a program that had a very specific theme around like how you run webinars. And then she was in a very specific program around evergreen, like how you drive demand to evergreen programs. And then she was in a copywriting program, and so they probably had their own kind of methodology. And so I was like, where am I going to fit in? Because you're not going to listen to my voice and my authority when you already got these other coaches. And one of these programs I knew was $50,000. And people tend to put their energy where they've spent the most money. So paying me $20,000 when you paid them $50,000, you're not going to listen to me. You're not going to listen to me. Right? Stacy said, yes, pick someone great and stick with them. That's my philosophy. And baby, this is why I got Stacy back. Because Stacy know I'm great. And you know what the best thing about me is? I'm far from perfect, and I'll admit it. I will tell you if I'm not the right coach for you. I will tell you if this ain't the right time. I will turn down your money if it's not in your best interest. My bank account might not like it, but my spot in heaven will be secured. I don't want to be reason number 372.5 that you hate the coaching industry. Gone with that. I do not heal coach hurt. You got to work through that yourself. And part of why I created Birthright is because of the hurt that I've had. I paid $19,500 for a company to build out a course that me and Terica ended up building out ourselves over Christmas break. I paid thousands of dollars for marketing channels to be created, and they didn't upload one video and edited it like a child could have done. I mean, I cannot tell you. This $10,000 I spent ain't got nothing on the money I've lost from just like flat out scam, fraud, like could not do the thing they were supposed to do. I've forgiven people who never apologize. The inner work is working. But a lot of us either have not forgiven ourselves or we haven't forgiven those people. So we've spent a lot of money at this point because everybody was bored during COVID. I don't know if I've ever met a person. Terica might be the only person I know that ain't never like fell into the coaching thing, right? Like not that she doesn't believe in it, but she ain't like actively out seeking out coaches, right? In general, pretty much everybody I know has hired a coach at some point to some degree for some amount of money. And most of those people have been burned. And so like at this point, we all have to admit some of these things that happened to us were completely outside our control. The program was mismarketed and we got misled. But sometimes we just got to admit lesson number 9. We have not done the inner work to make the program work yet. I said it. And sometimes you just got to take that L and admit that you just wasn't ready for what you purchased. Now, this is why I created my Be Do Have framework, because it creates an ecosystem where I cannot accidentally allow a bad fit person into my program. Birthright has an income limit on it of $100K. I should have put an asterisk because this year has sucked for a lot of people. So if you made 6 figures in the past, but just not this year, still apply. But my goal was to get people who have the mindset of abundance because they've had money. I've been broke before. I couldn't think abundantly about nothing. I'm talking about me. Now, if you are making $20,000 a year and barely paying your bills and you still have an abundant mindset, you are doing amazing. When I was making $20,000 a year, I mostly just wallowed in self-pity. Just keeping it 100. So I can't speak to that. But it's also not a sales program. And what I don't want to do is take $5,000 from somebody who doesn't know where their next sale is coming from. Because now me taking $5,000 from them has put them in a negative state. Now their nervous system is elevated and activated because they're trying to figure out where they're going to come up with enough money to pay their bills and make their payroll. So that's why we set an income limit, right? I also wanted a safe space. And I'm not saying that all men are unsafe, but I find that the challenges that women have are different than the challenges that men have. And when you let even one man in your space, there's going to be women in that space that don't feel safe to share anymore. And I've seen it happen. So I made some parameters. If that means we sell less, then that's just what it means. But I don't want a community that devolves into something that I didn't want because I didn't set the standard. I set the standard because I am the owner. If you got a program full of bad fits, you did it. You let them people in your program. So fix it. All right. So I think the next lesson I would share from something I have learned is that you have to be able to self-regulate when dealing with a coach, because they are going to challenge what you believe about yourself. They're going to give you feedback that might be way off base. It's kind of like ChatGPT. You're going to have to train your relationship a little bit. If I go in ChatGPT and just say, write me a script for today's Facebook Live, and I don't give it any kind of context, well, yeah, it's not going to be great, but I can go back and refine. So sometimes we get a little hurt and we withdraw from our coaching programs. Engage. It's okay to tell your coach, hey, that thing you said hurt my feelings, or it kind of knocked the wind out of me, and I kind of want to talk about how I receive feedback best. It's okay to say, you suggested that I do X, but I feel very uncomfortable with that. And if you get someone who gaslights you, who tells you that you're uncoachable, that your inner game or your mindset is trash, that your programs don't work, like if you get somebody who is literally telling you you ain't shit when you have demonstrable evidence to the contrary, cut your loss and run. Don't let no coach traumatize you. I don't care what you paid them. Anybody who's ever been burnt out, had mental illness, or had a psychotic break will tell you, ain't no amount of money worth I'll be damned if a coach gives me PTSD. Hell no. Nah. Hell no. Nah. Can't see it. Won't happen. No way. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Life is too short. I have too many blessings. I have a mother who is beautiful and young and vibrant. I have challenges. My dad is in the hospital right now. And ain't no way. I'm not gonna be sitting in therapy talking about how I stayed with this coach for 6 months that traumatized me. So like vet as well as you can, but if you see where the relationship is not working out, like it's okay to terminate. It is okay. Promise you. God replenishes whatever amount of money you think that you've lost that you'll never get back, you can get it back. Whatever that amount is. Because of this $100,000 that I spent, at least $60,000 of that was a mistake. At least 60. But think about the money we've made in 3.5 years. Around 1.1 million in the last since inception. So I've invested 9% of my gross revenue over that time in coaching and personal development, and 60% of what I invested didn't work out. Look how successful I still am. So I think sometimes we view loss the wrong way, and that leads us to lesson 10. If you got through it alive, you won. You learned a lesson, and now you can move on. And hopefully you won't make that same mistake again. Will you make another mistake? Hell yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm a lot further ahead than people who spend $0 in coaching or consulting or therapy or personal development, whatever your personal development bucket is. I'm way further ahead than the person who invested nothing. Way further. Even with the mistakes, even with the problems, even with my ego, even with a 40% success rate. I am still further ahead than had I invested zero and not gotten into anything. Way further. Way further. Darnell and Donna alone helped me leapfrog a lot of people. I reach out to folks sometimes from Clubhouse to see how they doing. They're out of business. Like just from 3 years ago. And I mean, I know there's a lot of reasons people close their business. It's not all they ran out of money. Like I'm not judging why they closed. I'm saying the fact that you're still in business and you still have clients is actually a win. Even if it's not the money you thought you would have, and even if it's not the number of clients you wish that you had, the fact that somebody can go on your website and not get a 404 error is a blessing. I went to somebody's site the other day. The whole site was, the whole domain was closed. Went to her Instagram link, whole thing shut off. She is out of business. I'm like, damn. And I was trying to send her some business. So if you still fighting, you in good company, right? So, I want to encourage you to forgive yourself. And I want you to forgive yourself for that unforgivable thing. I want you to forgive yourself for paying a coach $20,000 that you didn't vet and you didn't know very well, and you weren't able to help your mom with her plumbing, or you weren't able to help your dad with his assisted living, and you felt guilty about it. I want you to forgive yourself. I want you to forgive yourself for taking out student loans and balling at homecoming instead of paying them off. Now you 50 with student loans. I want you to forgive yourself for whatever college program for yourself or your kids that you didn't think was important at the time, right? I have a client who did not insure her husband, and he passed away. And she just never forgave herself for not buying life insurance. And y'all know how big I am on life insurance. He died in his 30s. She was 29 and he was like 31 when he died from like a brain aneurysm, just very sudden. And she's never forgiven herself for that. And I'm like, you gotta release that. Because see, when you don't forgive yourself, you harbor resentment against yourself. And blessings and resentment, they're at odds. They can't live together. So as long as in your mind, you're like, I'm a bad person, I'm a bad steward of money, I'm wrong, and I'm guilty, and I'm ashamed, and I'm embarrassed because of this mistake that I made, this unforgivable mistake. How can you call abundance into that arena? Why would God bless you with more money if you still yearning after the money you lost? Why would God bless you with a new opportunity to make a good decision when all you think about is your bad decision? How can you ever get to a place where you say, I am enough, if your inner voice is always telling you you're a screw up? I'm not saying it's going to be easy. That's what therapy is for. That's what mindset work is for. I tell everybody I know about positive intelligence because it changed my life. I don't get a penny from positive intelligence, but I took the quiz. I bought the $9.95 program, and I paid $37 a month for that app, and I use it every single day. My fingertips, I could probably rob a bank with these two fingers, because I done probably rubbed the fingerprints off of these fingers. And if you do positive intelligence, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to let that go. And you also have to forgive these people. I forgive the person who didn't bill my course for $19,500. Seriously. I think she was doing the best she could do. And she knew her stuff. The agency people she hired just didn't know what was going on. I forgive every coach that has stolen from me, intentionally or unintentionally. I forgive myself for filing personal bankruptcy. I was in my 20s. I was poor. Poor people file bankruptcy. It's what happens. I was working 2 jobs. I tried the best that I could. It wasn't like I was going on vacation or nothing. It wasn't like I had nothing. I was a renter. I was just poor. That's what happens to poor people. They get traumatized by being poor. It's why I'm so adamant about y'all not being poor. It's why I push y'all to sell every damn day so that you don't have to be poor. Because the health outcomes and the life expectancy outcomes and the mental health outcomes when you are below the poverty line are abysmal. And black people are 8 times more likely to succumb to those things than white people. Black people do worse than white people even when they have the same amount of money. It is the most dangerous thing you could be as a black person is poor. The most dangerous is the worst outcome. And I will fight tooth and nail for that to not be me again. I don't ever want to go back to waiting tables at Cracker Barrel for $2.13 an hour. So if that means I got to fuss a little bit on the internet, so be it. And I so desperately want to make sure that my business flourishes that I invested $100,000 and was like, even if only 10% of this work, at least I tried something. All right. So let me talk to you about what Birthright can do for you. If you've been thinking about joining, it really is amazing because it's going to give you some of the tools to get around these issues. So some of this is energetic, but some of this is just systems. So if you're like me and Stacy, right, being a big spender, there are some systems you can put in place, some rules to keep yourself from spending. For instance, one of my rules is that I will only join a program if I can pay in full. If I've got to get on a payment plan, then I only allow myself one payment plan. So if your program is $30,000, but I ain't got $30,000 and I want to pay you $5,000 a month, that means I can't join nothing else for the 6 months that I'm paying you. That's a system and it works. Another system is now I run it by my counsel. So before I hire anybody, I ask my husband, I ask my OBM, I ask my marketing consultant, Sarah Moon, I ask my attorney, I talk to my mom because I know that my discernment is not super strong. I'm naive. I believe the best in people. I look for the best in people. And many of the online service providers are grifters. There is no good in them. They are only around to collect money. They don't give a damn about you. There's nothing good to see. I'm just being honest. So now I have a system wherein, I talk to Fiona. If I don't get yeses from my people, then I just don't buy it because they see something that I don't see. And see, a lot of y'all are too prideful to ask for help. You sneak and you make these investments without talking to anybody in your support system. Then you get scammed and then you be mad. Right? So some of the other financial systems or financial personas are the ostrich. The ostrich tries their damnedest not to look at their money. And so for that person, they can come to the monthly money clinic or they can come to any of the calls and they can talk through their money issues. We can open the bill together. We can talk through it. You can have support. For the accumulator, we just need to gamify investments. So the accumulator doesn't want to spend anything. They don't want to invest anything. And maybe they've had a period of lack in their life. Normally when I meet people who are the accumulator, there was a period of time where there was poverty. And so now they're like, I'm not losing nothing. I'm never going to be back to that place where I was. I used to be an accumulator. When I first filed bankruptcy after I went through my trauma cry, I did chapter 13. So I was in it for 5 years. If you've ever done a chapter 7, you're super blessed because it's over in like 60 days. But chapter 13 is 5 years. 5 long years of feeling like crap and paying the trustee. So I was still working at the bank. And every payday, every 2 weeks, I would take some cash out of my check, $100, $200, $300, and I would put it in my safe deposit box. I know you ain't supposed to put cash in the safe deposit box. I worked at the bank. You ain't telling me nothing. I did it. So there. And eventually I saved $10,000 in my safe deposit box. And you might be thinking that's not a lot of money, but at the time I was making $42,000 a year. And I saved diligently. So by the time I got out of my bankruptcy, I had a significant savings cushion, and I just grew that savings cushion. I was terrified to ever file bankruptcy again. I'm still terrified, actually. If I file bankruptcy a second time, I will be basically barred from the financial services industry. I'd never be able to get securities licenses again. So it's not something that I ever want to have to go through. So I work towards that, but like accumulators take saving to the extreme because they won't take the risk of investing. And there's no point in having $100,000 in a savings account and nothing in an investment account because your savings account can't even keep up with inflation. And in layman's terms, that means that every year you don't invest, you're losing money. So just because your bank account balance isn't going down doesn't mean you're not losing money because of purchasing power. Anybody who's been grocery shopping in the last 2 years knows everything is double what it's supposed to cost. $100 now ain't the same as $100 even 3 months ago. So if you got $100 in your bank account and it's still $100, you're losing money because you can't buy March's $100 worth of stuff in October. So you have to be investing your money, and I help people overcome that fear. If you're the giver, if you love to give money, you have to be rich. You can't be a poor giver. Doesn't happen. Middle class giving ain't great either, right? It's okay to be generous, but I want you to ask yourself why you put yourself last. I want you to ask yourself why you think your mom and your dad and your cousin and your sister and every charity that writes you a letter and your clients deserve your last. Why do you have to discount your services? Why are you last? Somewhere in your childhood, somebody taught you that you didn't get to be first in your own life. Maybe you got thrust into being responsible, the caretaker. I don't know your story. But I would love to help you get to a healthy place where you can give responsibly within your means while you build your empire. So we got 6 personas. We talked about the big spender, the ostrich, the accumulator, the giver, the perfectionist, right? If you only make a move when you are 100% certain that something's going to work, you never make a move. There's some perfectionists right now in watching this live going, you spent $100K on coaching. Only 40 of it was worth it. And you still alive? It's because I make imperfect decisions. I make imperfect decisions. And I make fast, imperfect decisions. Terica will tell you, I'll think about paying you on Monday and pay you in full on Tuesday. Because I don't like inaction. The longer I think about making a decision, the less likely I am to make any decision. And indecision is what kills businesses. See, your gut knows what to do. Your intuition knows what to do, but you won't do it. I've lost so much money this year dragging my feet on this launch. Birthright is the program I should have been selling. And that's why, regardless whether one person buys it or whether 100 people buy it during this cycle, we're going to keep selling it because this is the program I'm supposed to have. But for years, I told myself I was a sales coach and people needed sales help and people didn't really want this woo stuff and people see me as too direct to be a mindset coach, right? I don't seem like a mindset coach because I'm kind of firm. But I can get you out of these bad behaviors a lot faster than that person telling you to go lay naked on your veranda and wait for some magical energy to come out your vagina to fix your problems. Woo, without any tactics and strategy, doesn't work. So I decided that I'm exactly qualified to be teaching what I'm teaching and that the marketplace will just have to catch up. Because anybody who's worked with me will tell you that I helped them with their money mindset, even when I thought I was selling sales. Go figure. All right. The sixth persona is the reluctant leader. And this used to be me. Somebody who really did not feel like a CEO. And when you don't feel like a CEO, let me tell you what happens. You make employee decisions. As a CEO, you have to guide the company. You're the visionary. So you have to make decisions about when you're going to do strategic initiatives, when you're going to launch new programs, when you're going to change to new software, when you're going to hire help. What are you going to do next? But most of us get caught up in the day-to-day how decisions, how to send an email, how to market the program, how to go live on Facebook. If all you do is how stuff, then the big picture what and when and why stuff never happens. And I used to be so guilty of this. My favorite job in this business is the sales department. Why? Because I get to feel like I'm at work. I've been in sales a long time. I did sales at Wells Fargo. I did sales at Verizon. I did sales at DirecTV. I did sales at Sears Teleserve. I've been a telemarketer and a bill collector. I've sold life insurance. I've sold it all. Hell, I waited tables. That's a sales job. What makes you leave somebody $30 instead of $5? It's a sales job. So by hiding in the sales department, a lot of other decisions didn't have to get made. And I used to defer to these coaches to try to be my visionary. And that's lesson number 11. You can't defer your vision to anybody else. It's yours. You are the visionary. When I hired Darnell, I wanted her to be the visionary of my business. She's a prophet. She could see. You tell me where to go, Darnell. When I hired Donna, I don't know what I'm doing. You teach me where to go, Donna. It's the biggest mistake that I made because nobody knows where you're going but you. God put that compass inside of you. You can't outsource vision. You can't outsource purpose. You can't outsource the what and when decisions in your business. My crazy ass spent $100,000 trying to give. Here, I don't want you take it. Here, I don't want this purpose. You take it. You tell me what to do with it. I don't want it. Damn, it's too heavy. And that way I could deflect when stuff flopped. Oh, that didn't sell very well. Well, my coach the one who told me to do it, so at least it wasn't my idea that failed. It was a defense mechanism. It was a defense mechanism. And I thank God that I went through this. And it's why I wanted to do this live. Birthright's not just a program. It's a movement. It's important. If you're still trying to outsource your vision and your purpose so that you don't have to fail, I'm telling you now, it's impossible. Failure is part of growth. It has to happen. And you're delaying the inevitable by trying to shuffle it off on somebody else. I can't tell you how many people have paid the Nat Bullen thinking it was going to make them a confident person who launched and went live on Facebook and pivoted into any offer they wanted to. Folks don't see the work. I go to therapy every week. I do positive intelligence. I read my Bible. I talk to my mother. I check in with my friends and family. I have hobbies. I have a husband who loves me. I do guided meditation. I do somatic practices. I do salt float. I have an amazing skincare routine. I do a lot. I journal. I'm writing a book. I'm doing a lot to keep growing and not contract when things get bad. And things are gonna get bad. It's inevitable. You never read about a successful company. Walt Disney, Uber, Lyft, Apple, they've all had adversity. They've all had struggles. So if you think you're the only person that lost $20,000 to a bad coach, you're wrong. If you think you're the only person who struggles finding a copywriter to find their voice, you're wrong. Write your own damn copy. I wrote the copy for Birthright. If you like that sales page, go send me some stars. Give me a tip because I wrote that page. That's not to say that copywriters aren't worth the investment. That's not to say that I'll never hire a copywriter again. But the biggest lesson number 12, is that you can do this. Move that to lesson number 1. You can do this. Coaches help expedite the process, but you still got to go through the process. And quiet as it's kept, sometimes you don't need to expedite it. Sometimes you need to go the slow route. Sometimes you need the scenic route through your healing. Because there's a thing called epigenetics that means that certain traumas can be passed down genetically. I'll give you an example. So they did a study on some grasshoppers, and they put the grasshoppers in a jar. That's a prescription. Let's say. They put grasshoppers in a jar, okay? You see the lid on this jar. Put baby grasshoppers. So the baby grasshoppers could only hop as high as the jar. Make sense? They would hit their head on the top here. So they could jump higher genetically. But because of the encapsulation, they couldn't jump higher than this. They bred those grasshoppers. Follow me. They bred them. They took them out of the container, the offspring. The offspring only jumped as high as the old container. Listen to what I'm telling you. The new baby grasshoppers who were never exposed to this container could not jump taller than this container. They'd never even seen it. They'd never experienced it. This means you might be up against stuff you didn't even experience. You might be up against the Great Depression that your grandparents went through. You might be up against the domestic violence or the trauma that your parents went through, and you don't even know it. I think that all Black people carry some level of trauma from slavery. Why do you think it's so hard for us to charge high ticket? Why do you think it's hard for us to charge any price? Because in slavery, they put a price on us. I'm in Alabama, and you know that's one of the most racist, segregated places in the country. Is where a lot of civil rights stuff went down, right? I used to be the finance chair of the Black Employee Resource Program at Wells Fargo. And we had a Juneteenth event, an inaugural event. And as such, 2 gentlemen from the Birmingham, Alabama Civil Rights Museum brought artifacts to the event. They brought a slave ledger and they brought a pair of shackles. They brought a slave ledger and they brought a pair of shackles. They didn't even have names in the book. We were just male and female and presumed age and how strong we were. We were woman 32, good disposition, malleable. We meant nothing. And there were numbers, dollar amounts that we was getting auctioned off for. So if you find it hard to set a price for your services and sell it, that's why. Because we're so accustomed to somebody putting a price on us and it didn't feel right. And that's trauma you got to work through. I ain't going to work through all your trauma with you in Birthright. But I want you to be aware, because somebody is watching this who's beating themselves up over, why can't I get this right? Why can't I charge what the value of the service is worth? Why can't I sell high ticket? Why can't I show up on live like Natalie? Why can't I do the rebrand? Why can't I launch a YouTube channel? What's wrong with me? And I just want to comfort you right now. You might be up against a demon that you didn't even recognize. I made the mistake of touching the shackles, and the chill that went through my body, it felt like I was being frozen. You know, frozen. It felt like I was being turned into a statue by Medusa. I could not move. The evil energy in the shackle. If you ain't never been to a civil, I don't advise you touch anything, but go to a civil rights museum. I'm saying this to say, some of this stuff can't be expedited. So I hired a lot of coaches to get me results faster. And I did 4-week programs and 6-week programs and 8-week programs and 12-week programs. Birthright is ongoing. Because maybe we need to hang out for a long time. Maybe you need to pay me $5,000 and we sit together for a year, because you're going to need 3 months to just get your mind right. I got you. Everything shouldn't be fast. Because maybe you like that cricket or that grasshopper that didn't even recognize that you only jumped as high as your parents jumped. Because you ain't never even been in the same container. My mom drank out of colored only water fountains. I never drank out of colored only water fountains. Does that mean that I escaped racism and segregation? We're up against stuff. All right? My last lesson, so y'all can go. So I can go. Is to remember that you are the sovereign being in your world. And your thoughts matter. Your mind matters. Your desires matter. Your intellect matters. Your gift is enough. Stop looking outside of you for what you think other people are going to do for you. You are enough. Wealth is your birthright. Join the program. Don't join the program. You're going to be a millionaire anyway. Join the program. Don't join the program. You're going to be the CEO anyway. It's going to happen for you. The only question is the timing. And if you can't join now, join later. It's evergreen. We have bonuses that end tomorrow, but jump your ass in Monday, Tuesday, next week, next month, next year. Because this is my life's work and I'm not going anywhere. And that's how you should feel about your stuff too. Stop trying to buy confidence from other people. It's for you. You got to trust yourself enough to do the hard, scary thing. I can't trust you more than you trust you, and it work out. All right. I hope that you all have been blessed by this. I appreciate you all. I love you more than you know. And I'll see you inside Birthright. Bye.